Did you know some old US dimes, even in bad condition, can be worth millions? Today, we're uncovering the rarest state dimes that collectors are hunting for. Coins so valuable, even a worn dime could make you rich. First up, the 1967 Roosevelt Dime is part of the iconic Roosevelt Dime series, which began in 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt shortly after his death. The dime replaced the Mercury dime, which had been in circulation since 1916, designed by Adolph A. Weinman. The Roosevelt dime was designed by John R. Sinek, whose initials, JS, appear subtly at the base of Roosevelt's neck on the obverse side of the coin. The obverse displays a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt, the word, liberty, to the left, the motto, "In God We Trust," near the chin, and the year, 1967, clearly on the right. The reverse design features a torch in the center, representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left symbolizing peace, and an oak branch on the right representing strength and independence. Around the reverse edge are the inscriptions, United States of America, at the top and, "1 dime," at the bottom. It is important to note that the 1967 dime is historically notable for mint marks. During the years 1965–1967, the United States Mint removed mint marks from coins to reduce hoarding due to a national coin shortage. Officially, no 1967 dimes should carry a mint mark, whether from Denver D, San Francisco S, or Philadelphia P, which traditionally had none. Therefore, if you come across a 1967 D mint mark dime, it is very likely to be altered, misidentified, or counterfeit, and it is critical for collectors to be aware of this. Misreading the mint mark is a common issue, especially on coins that have heavy wear, dirt, or corrosion, which can make surfaces appear misleading. Some coins may have die anomalies or scratches that resemble a mint mark, but official records confirm that Denver dimes of 1967 had no D mint mark because of the temporary mint mark removal policy. The composition of the 1967 dime is also historically significant. Prior to 1965, U.S. dimes were composed of 90% silver and 10% copper. However, due to the rising price of silver and the need for more coins in circulation, the Coinage Act of 1965 mandated that dimes and quarters no longer contain silver. Consequently, the 1967 dime was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition. This consists of a pure copper core sandwiched between two outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving the coin a silver-like appearance while remaining cost-effective for mass production. The coin measures 17.91 mm in diameter, weighs 2.27 grams, and has a reeded edge, which was standard for dimes to help prevent clipping and counterfeiting. Regarding circulation and condition, the 1967 dime is extremely common, as millions were minted to alleviate the coin shortage of the 1960s. A dime in bad condition is typically described as heavily circulated, with most of the design worn smooth. In such coins, Roosevelt's hairlines, facial details, the torch, and the branches on the reverse are often indistinct or nearly gone. Collectors use grading scales such as poor P1, fair FR2, about good AG3, or good G4, for these heavily worn examples. Coins in these grades often have scratches, nicks, dings, corrosion spots, and a generally dull or discolored surface. These conditions result from decades of use in daily transactions, exposure to moisture, dirt, chemicals, and rough handling. Value-wise, a heavily circulated 1967 dime in bad condition generally holds little value above face, often around 10 cents to 30 cents in collector terms. Coins in better condition, especially uncirculated examples graded Mississippi 60 and above by professional services like Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company, can reach a few dollars or slightly more depending on demand. Rare mint errors or anomalies, such as doubled dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, or die cracks, can command significantly higher prices, sometimes reaching tens or hundreds of dollars, but these are exceptionally rare for the 1967 dime because of the massive mintage and standardized production processes. Collectors often appreciate the 1967 Roosevelt dime not for its rarity in circulation but for its historical context. The coin represents the transition from silver to clad coinage, a period in which the U.S. economy faced pressures of rising commodity prices and a nationwide coin shortage. It also ties to Franklin D. Roosevelt's legacy, particularly his connection to the March of Dimes, a charity he helped establish to combat polio. The dime's design was chosen in part to honor both his presidency and his personal efforts against the disease. Even in bad condition, the coin offers insight into everyday American life in the late 1960s. Worn edges, faded inscriptions, and surface marks reveal decades of circulation, changing hands in stores, vending machines, banks, and public transportation. These coins tell a tangible story of ordinary transactions, social history, and economic pressures of the era. For beginning numismatists, studying these circulated coins can be an important educational tool, helping them understand grading, wear patterns, and historical context without requiring high-value investments. In terms of collecting strategy, serious collectors might seek multiple examples of the 1967 dime in various conditions to demonstrate the progression of wear over time. Some may attempt to locate mint state examples, Mississippi 60 and above, or rare die varieties for investment purposes. Others might focus on coins with clear surfaces to preserve the artistry of Cynic's design. Even in bad condition, these coins are accessible and affordable, making them ideal for educational collections or hands-on study. Finally, it's essential to reiterate that any 1967 dime with AD mint mark is highly suspicious. Authenticity verification by a professional grading service is crucial if such a coin is encountered. Collectors should check the coin's surface for signs of alteration or over-engraving, consider professional evaluation, and compare with verified specimens. The true 1967 dimes without mint marks are among the most common Roosevelt dimes, but their historical significance and connection to U.S. monetary reform make them interesting and valuable in a cultural and educational sense. In conclusion, the 1967 Roosevelt dime in bad condition represents a widely circulated, historically meaningful coin. It embodies the transition from silver to clad coinage in response to economic needs, the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt, and the practical realities of mid-20th century U.S. coinage. While its monetary value may be minimal in heavily worn examples, it serves as an educational, collectible, and historically resonant piece of American numismatic history, offering insight into design, composition, circulation, and the stories embedded in everyday coins. Next up, the 1985 Roosevelt dime is part of the long-running and iconic Roosevelt dime, which began as a tribute to Franklin D. Roosevelt shortly after his passing in 1945. The dime replaced the Mercury dime, which had circulated from 1916 to 1945. Designed by John R. Cynic, the coin's obverse features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt along with the word, Liberty, on the left, the national motto, In God We Trust, near the base of the neck, and the year, 1985, prominently displayed on the right. The reverse features the familiar design with a torch symbolizing liberty in the center, flanked by an olive branch on the left for peace and an oak branch on the right for strength and independence. Surrounding these elements are the inscriptions, United States of America, at the top and, 1 dime, at the bottom. The D Mint mark on a 1985 dime indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which is one of the primary production facilities of the United States Mint. In 1985, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Roosevelt dimes to satisfy the ongoing demand for coinage in daily circulation. Mint marks are a crucial detail for collectors, as they help identify the coin's origin and sometimes affect its rarity and value. The Denver minted dimes tend to have very subtle D Mint marks located to the right of Roosevelt's neck on the obverse, just above the date, and their visibility can be affected by circulation, wear, and cleaning. By 1985, the Roosevelt dime had been in copper-nickel-clad production for 20 years, following the Coinage Act of 1965, which removed silver from circulating dimes and quarters. The 1985 dime, like all post-1965 dimes, is composed of a copper core bonded with a copper-nickel outer layer. This gives the coin a silver-like appearance while keeping production costs low and making it suitable for mass circulation. The coin has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, a weight of 2.27 grams, and a reeded edge designed to deter counterfeiting. In terms of condition, a 1985 D dime in bad condition shows significant wear and damage from decades of circulation. Coins in this state often have smoothed-out features, worn lettering, scratches, dents, corrosion spots, and sometimes discoloration from exposure to moisture or chemicals. Such coins are typically graded as poor P1, fair FR2, about good AG3, or good G4. In these grades, Roosevelt's facial details, the torch lines, and the branch veins on the reverse may be almost entirely gone, leaving only the basic outline of the coin visible. These heavily worn dimes still circulate in coin collections but generally have minimal monetary value, often only slightly above face value. Despite being common in circulation, some collectors are still interested in 1985 D dimes due to possible mint errors. Occasionally, Denver minted coins from 1985 may exhibit minor anomalies such as die cracks, double dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks. These errors are extremely rare and can increase a coin's value significantly, sometimes by hundreds of dollars depending on the severity, visibility, and collector interest. However, in most cases, a worn 1985 D dime in bad condition is primarily of interest for educational or collection completion purposes rather than high monetary value. Historically, the 1985 dime is part of the mid to late 20th century circulation era, when the U.S. economy was stable and coin demand was high. Millions of dimes like the 1985 D were used in everyday transactions, from vending machines and buses to retail purchases and banks. As a result, surviving examples in heavily circulated condition are extremely common, while uncirculated coins, especially those preserved in original mint packaging or graded as Mississippi 65 or higher, hold more interest for collectors. The presence of scratches, nicks, or discoloration on bad condition coins tells a story of decades in circulation, reflecting how coins were used, stored, and occasionally mishandled by the public. From a numismatic perspective, the 1985 D dime in bad condition can still serve as a teaching tool for beginners. It helps collectors understand grading, wear patterns, and the effect of circulation on coin surfaces, while also providing insight into mint production techniques of the Denver Mint. Despite low financial value, such coins are affordable, making them ideal for learning about coin history, composition, and the nuances of the Roosevelt Dime series. Collectors also appreciate the Roosevelt Dime series for its connection to March of Dimes and the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt. The dime not only honors Roosevelt's presidency but also symbolizes his personal struggle with polio and his ongoing contributions to public health. The coin's continued production over decades has made it a staple of American currency, ensuring that almost every collector will encounter multiple examples in varying conditions, from pristine uncirculated coins to heavily worn, damaged specimens. Finally, while a 1985 D dime in bad condition is generally of low market value, usually just slightly above its face value of 10 cents, it is still part of a historically important series, representing the continuity of the U.S. coinage system, the transition to modern clad compositions, and the practical realities of everyday circulation. Even in poor condition, each coin embodies decades of history, economic activity, and national heritage, making it both educational and collectible. In conclusion, the 1985 D Roosevelt dime in bad condition is a common coin, yet historically significant. Its Denver origin, copper-nickel clad composition, and connection to Roosevelt's legacy give it educational and collector value, even if heavily worn examples hold little financial worth. For collectors, numismatists, and history enthusiasts, it remains a fascinating piece of American currency that illustrates mid-1980s coinage practices, circulation patterns, and the enduring appeal of the Roosevelt Dime series. Next up, the 1992 Roosevelt Dime is part of the iconic and long-running Roosevelt Dime, which honors Franklin D. Roosevelt. The series began in 1946 shortly after Roosevelt's death and replaced the Mercury dime that had circulated from 1916 to 1945. The design, created by John R. Sinek, features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse. Alongside his profile are the inscriptions, "Liberty," on the left, the national motto, "In God We Trust," near the base of the neck, and the year, 1992, to the right. The reverse of the dime shows a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left representing peace and an oak branch on the right representing strength and independence, with the inscriptions, "United States of America," at the top and "1 dime," at the bottom. The precision of Sinek's design has allowed it to remain virtually unchanged for decades, making it one of the most recognizable American coins. The P Mint mark indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The Philadelphia Mint is one of the oldest and most prolific coin production facilities in the United States, operating continuously since the late 18th century. In 1992, Philadelphia produced Roosevelt dimes in massive quantities for circulation, and as such, coins from this year are very common. On a 1992 P dime, the mint mark appears as a small P on the obverse, just to the right of the date. This mint mark is crucial for collectors because it identifies the production location and can occasionally influence a coin's value when combined with rare die varieties or errors. In terms of composition, the 1992 Roosevelt dime follows the post-1965 copper-nickel clad standard. Like all dimes since the Coinage Act of 1965, the 1992 dime is no longer made of silver. Instead, it consists of a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which gives the coin a silvery appearance while being economical for mass production. The coin measures 17.91 millimeters in diameter, weighs 2.27 grams, and has a reeded edge to deter counterfeiting and clipping. This copper-nickel clad design ensures durability, which means many dimes from 1992 are still in circulation today, although their condition varies widely depending on handling and exposure over the past 3 decades. A 1992 P dime in bad condition exhibits heavy wear, scratches, discoloration, and possibly corrosion from decades of use. Coins in such condition are typically graded as poor P1, fair FR2, about good AG3, or good G4. In these grades, most of the finer design details, such as the intricate lines in Roosevelt's hair, the veins in the branches, or the torch details, are often worn smooth or almost entirely lost. Circulated coins may have nicks from contact with other coins, surface abrasions, or even small dents caused by drops or rough handling. Environmental exposure, such as moisture, heat, or chemical contact, can further degrade the metal's appearance, causing tarnishing, spotting, or discoloration. Despite being common, 1992p dimes still hold some numismatic interest, especially for collectors who are completing Roosevelt Dime series sets or seeking coins with unusual minting errors. Rare errors from the Philadelphia Mint in 1992 could include double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or die cracks. These errors, while extremely uncommon, can significantly increase the coin's value above the typical face value. For example, a heavily worn dime with a major double die error or a misaligned planchet might be worth considerably more than its standard circulated counterpart, though such cases are exceptional. Historically, the 1992 dime represents a mature period in U.S. coinage when the copper-nickel-clad coins had fully replaced silver coins for dimes and quarters, and the U.S. economy had stable currency circulation. Millions of these coins were used daily for vending machines, public transit, retail purchases, and banking transactions. As a result, the vast majority of 1992p dimes are found in circulated, often worn, condition. For collectors, this makes the coin easily accessible, yet it also underscores the importance of finding rare mint errors or exceptionally preserved specimens if seeking higher value. From an educational perspective, a 1992p dime in bad condition provides an excellent opportunity for beginners to learn about grading, circulation effects, mint marks, and coin composition. Observing wear patterns, corrosion, and damage helps collectors understand how coins deteriorate over time and how to identify subtle design features that persist even on heavily used coins. For series collectors, these worn examples are often placeholders to complete sets, while premium value comes from uncirculated coins or those with certified mint state grades such as Mississippi 65 or higher from grading services like Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company. Additionally, the Roosevelt Dime series carries a significant historical and cultural legacy. Franklin D. Roosevelt was instrumental in founding the March of Dimes, a charity originally established to fight polio. The choice to place Roosevelt on the dime was both a tribute to his presidency and recognition of his public health contributions. Even in worn condition, the dime serves as a symbol of his enduring impact, making the coin more than just currency. It is a tangible link to 20th-century American history. In conclusion, the 1992p Roosevelt dime in bad condition is a very common coin with little monetary value above its face value. However, it remains historically significant, educationally useful, and a necessary component for collectors completing series sets. Its copper-nickel composition, Philadelphia origin, and connection to Roosevelt's legacy make it more than a simple 10-cent coin. It is a small but enduring piece of American numismatic and cultural history. Even in heavily worn condition, it tells the story of decades of circulation, economic continuity, and the everyday transactions of countless Americans. For collectors, historians, and enthusiasts, the 1992p dime is a window into U.S. coinage practices, circulation trends, and the lasting influence of Roosevelt himself. Please like and subscribe to my channel.